Today's video is sponsored by petflow.com. I just want to say that I have some fantastic videos lined up for you guys. Lots of new people, lots of new dogs, and lots of new training situations that I know a lot of you are dealing with. I think part of the success of this YouTube channel has a lot to do with the fact that we highlight so many different dogs and different training scenarios. In today's video, I'm going to answer some of your questions to see if I can help you if you've run up against a roadblock in some of your training. Leave your own questions and comments below, and maybe I'll answer them in a future video. Click thumbs up, make sure you're subscribed. Like me on Facebook as well, facebook.com/TheZachGeorge. I love the fact as a positive trainer that PetFlow doesn't sell choke chains, they don't sell prong collars, and they don't sell e-collars. Furthermore, they don't ask you to get in your car, drive across town, wait in traffic simply to get your dog food and your training supplies and your accessories. They have amazing prices as well. So if you haven't checked out petflow.com, you should do so as soon as possible. And as a special thank you to viewers of the Dog Training Revolution, they're giving you 15% off of your first purchase. Just enter code ZachGeorge15 when you check out. Free shipping too on all orders over $49. In today's day and age, there really isn't much of a reason to be driving all across town in order to get your supplies, your dog food, and things like that, when you can have it shipped straight to your door. You can even set up recurring delivery so you don't even have to think about it. So, you know, every 3 weeks you can have your food delivered, or whatever increment you decide to have it done in. So thank you very much to petflow.com. You guys are great. Let's take our first question. Janet posted this. I can't get my dog Murphy to come when I call him. He's 9 months old and he takes off when you try to get him. He runs around like it's a game, and I'm afraid he'll get hit by a car. Janet, you're very right to be concerned about this. This is a potentially dangerous thing. Now, it sounds to me that you need to work more on stay. Come when called is very important. I'll have a video in the description that will help you teach your dog stay. But remember that too much freedom too early on in life is the biggest mistake that people make. So here you have a 9-month-old dog who is in an uncontrolled setting, and you want to know how to get him back. I don't have any magic answers on that. You have to set them up for these situations before they occur. This means practicing a good 20 minutes to an hour a day, working on all of your obedience, including come when called, in a controlled setting. Now, how do we control the setting? Well, we can practice in a fenced area. We can practice with a long lead or leash on them. We can practice indoors, but the main thing is you want to work on this for many, many months before you let your dog off leash. This next question comes from Jamie. When teaching my foster dog to fetch, he'll run and sniff a toy without picking it up, or he doesn't even chase it at all and he jumps on me instead. Okay, totally get what you're saying here. This is so common for young dogs in particular. I think a lot of us have this idea that in a couple of training sessions, we ought to be able to teach the most perfect game of fetch, and that our dog should chase it and bring it back. A lot of people don't realize this, but fetch is not a natural game to dogs. They have to learn how to play it. Now, some dogs will take to it a little more quickly than others, but here's the good news. There's a couple of things you said here that I want to point out. You said your dog jumps on you like crazy. That's because your dog loves you and wants to interact with you. I think a lot of us think that the game of fetch is about the ball or the toy. It's not. The game is about interacting with us. So if we can bring life to that ball, into that toy as we throw it, that's what we want to do. We don't just want to say, hey, look here, go get it. You know, we want to be like, hey, here it is, here's the ball, go get it, come on. And if they don't run with them, show them how to do it. Get them to chase you, pick it up, play keep away with it. That's the best thing in the world you can do to really ignite fetch and really get you on the right track. You also said that your dog goes up to the toy and sniffs it and then just, you know, loses interest. Totally understandable. Most dogs have very little interest in chasing something that's not moving. So in this case, you've thrown the toy, it moves, but then it stopped. The moment it stops is the moment your dog loses interest. It is far better to practice on getting fetch really solid 3 or 4 feet away 30 times than it is to launch it, because all those distractions between returning that ball back to you and you can just totally derail a game of fetch in the beginning. So be understanding of that. Set your dog up for success and keep it easy for them in the beginning. Now, I have a whole playlist dedicated to teaching your dog fetch where I illustrate all of those things. That'll be in the description below. Do you guys like the Q&A format? Tell me in the comments below. So this is another come when called question from Krista, but I want to make a separate point about this one. In a nutshell, because it's a bit long, Krista says, we adopted our 5-month-old puppy about a month ago. He's smart and he's learning quickly, but lately we're having this issue of him deciding not to come to us when we call him and running the opposite way instead. Now, I have 3 young kids and they often accidentally let him outside, and then he runs around socializing with a neighbor's dog and has a grand old time, completely ignoring us and running in the opposite direction. Now, you may not love this answer as far as I want to address the latter point first about your kids accidentally letting your dog out. That cannot happen. That cannot happen because we have to take responsibility and make sure that we control our dog's environment. So if you have young kids and you know that there is that possibility of them accidentally opening the door, you need to be preemptive and make sure you have a dog in the part of the house where they can not get away with running out of the door, or have him tied to you on a lead. If you're unable to supervise adequately, consider doing something like doggy daycare during the day while you're taking care of the kids. Obviously, I understand they're a big priority as well, and I know it's not so easy as to say just don't let it happen. I would also recommend, like I told the other commenter, to teach your dog stay. Your problem is not come when called. Your problem is not running out of the door in the first place. So you need to get that solid. That video will be in the description to help you out. But here's the point that I really want to make. A 5-month-old dog. This is crazy. So before the age of 5 months, largely speaking, plenty of exceptions to this, dogs tend to stay near us. They tend to not roam. They really like being near us, and they'll follow us everywhere and they'll chase us. So if we're a bit naive, we tend to think, oh, my dog likes staying near me. I guess I just really lucked out and got a good dog that doesn't run off. They haven't really hit their peak of curiosity yet. You see, once they hit around 5 months of age, they start to wander, just enough for you to think it's an isolated incident here and there. And before you know it, they're gone and they keep running everywhere and you can never get them back. So you got to take a major step back on your training, start controlling your dog's environment. 5-month-old dog has no excuse to be in an uncontrolled environment for any reason at any time right now. So on leash, in a contained environment, fenced area, in a puppy play pen, a crate, a bathroom. I mean, there are a lot of things you can do. Now, of course, you'll need to use common sense about the period of time that you keep your dog in that setting, but also getting your dog tired within reason. We have to be a bit cautious with a 5-month-old because they're still growing and developing. See the description of the video in order to learn how to teach your dog to come to you more reliably. This next question comes from Jen. It's a good question. My question is around alternatives to fetch. My dog is so determined to fetch that she sometimes trips over her feet and twists one of her feet while trying to get on top of the ball. It's happened a few times now, and you want to know if agility is a reasonable alternative to fetch. Absolutely. So you know that my default is fetch. Teach your dog fetch. If you have a high energy dog, you gotta teach them fetch, because you can't hope to have a super obedient, well-behaved dog unless you get their energy out of them in order for them to then learn new concepts. A dog with pent-up energy cannot learn effectively, and it's not reasonable to expect them to learn. Remember, this is why we're in the dilemma we are in dog training of so many people relying on the pinch collars, prong collars, and shock collars, is because they don't seem to understand that you have to get the energy out of them rather than just trying to manhandle and power through in order to show them who's boss and get your way. Do you know what I mean? So it's important that we get our dogs exercise, but that's not your question. Your question has more to do with if dog sports that have structure like this are acceptable alternatives. Definitely. I recommend fetch because it's the easiest thing to do for most people in order to adequately satisfy their dogs mentally and physically. But agility, dock diving, frisbee, canine freestyle, I mean, the list goes on and on. There's so many fun things you can do with your dog. They take a little bit more training, but that doesn't sound like it's a problem to you. You're quite involved with teaching your dog, and I'd love to hear that. Okay, so this question is from Amy. How can we help our 12-week-old sleep longer at night? She's sleeping in the crate in our room, going to bed around 10 p.m., wanting to go outside every couple of hours or so, and then she's ready to play at 4 a.m. Any guidance you can offer? is much appreciated. So bottom line, you have a 12-week-old who doesn't sleep through the night yet. This varies from puppy to puppy. Some puppies will just be fine all the way through the night. Some are somewhere in between. Your dog sounds like a relatively high maintenance case of wanting to get up often. So you do need to work on getting that schedule right. This will get better, of course, but respectfully, none of us are entitled to a good night's sleep when we've brought a 12-week-old puppy into our life, because 12-week-old puppies, just like infants, tend to wake up during the night. They cry, they want to be let out. They don't understand our schedule yet. That comes with time. This is all part of getting to know your individual dog. So you'll have to get to know whether or not your dog is simply saying, hey, let me out because I'm bored and I don't feel like sleeping right now. Or whether or not your dog is saying, I really gotta go. For right now, I would say let your puppy out often and really kind of try and find that balance between what your dog is trying to communicate to you. You know, dogs have different whines, different cries. You'll be able to tell after a week or two more probably of working with her as to which whine means what. This is our last question. I have a great idea for your next video: how to keep a large dog from chasing a little dog at the dog park. My huskies recently decided to play with small dogs and start chasing them at the dog park. Now it might sound cute, but trust me, it's not. He's never hurt a small dog, but the people almost always freak out and pick up their dog. Inevitably, the people want to protect their dogs, causing, you guessed it, my dog to jump. My husky will always come when I call him, but often these incidents happen in a hurry. All the more reason to get better at your timing. If your dog is reliable with come when called, you should be really watching them and getting them to come to you upon the thought entering their head of chasing a dog. I get these questions all the time about how do I get my dog to listen to me at a dog park. It's as though many of us want to go from my dog listens to me in the living room, now they should listen to me in this massively distracting setting of a dog park, doing something that's very instinctive. Bottom line, it is up to you to make sure you are controlling your dog, and if you can't do that yet, if they are overwhelmed with too many distractions and they're chasing another dog and not listening to you immediately, well, that means that you have put them in a situation that they're not ready for. I think it's a good idea to devote 6 to 12 months of training before putting your dog in overwhelmingly distracting situations, or just make up your mind to not work on training while you're at the dog park. I mean, that's the other alternative you have. They serve a very good purpose for socializing and for your dog getting some exercise and having a good time. That's all good, but dog parks are not the best place for beginner training. That's a more intermediate to advanced thing, so you'll want to make sure that you have your fundamentals very tight, very solid before moving on. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want to see more Q&A videos, let me know in the comments below. Click thumbs up, like me on Facebook as well, and we will see you in the next video. Also, make sure you check out petflow.com/ZachGeorge. Link will be in the description. Support sponsors of the Dog Training Revolution, and we'll see you guys next time.